Welcome everybody to our leadership training call. My name is Dan Doyle from Sydney, Australia, now residing in Los Angeles, California. I'm an ambassador triple diamond for ASEA. Hopefully you know what that company is, otherwise you're on the wrong call. I'm also on here with a very good friend of mine, Bart, Kotter, who introduced me to this incredible company and these breakthrough products. He is a triple diamond in ASEA. He lives with his beautiful wife, Melissa, up on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland and in Australia. And yeah, I've got Bart on the call right now. How you doing, Bart?
Fantastic. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for inviting me to jump on here and do this with you, Dan. So welcome to the call, everybody.
Yeah, a lot of fun, isn't it? Thanks for coming on. I mean, there's a lot of people on this call, and there's a lot of new people on this call, brand spanking new people, right through to diamonds. And we just want to be upfront, don't we, Bart, and not make any apologies for what we're going to go through today.
No, this is really, really important because as I mentioned in the text messages that went out, this is and what you said too, this is a high level training. This is really looking at your business like a business and treating ASEA like the incredible business it is. I like what you say, Dan. If you treated this as though you invested $1 million in it, you would work your business probably different than what you currently are. Many of us anyway. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay like a hobby. If you treat it like a real business, it'll pay like a real business. And so just really important to do that. And Dan and I intend to share every bit of wisdom and advice that we can to help you to succeed and take your business truly to a whole nother level, because anybody can win at this if they just do the right things.
Yes, I mean, people are on this call because they want to do and build and ASEA business. They want to become the leader they need to be, and that's what this is all about in order to do so. So guys, take plenty of notes. Probably better still, with the amount of information that we're going to go through, take some screenshots or some photos of the screen. I'm going to go through a lot of information which I'm going to literally read off the screen and even break down a little bit as we go through. The first thing we're going to go through is 30 tips to become a better network marketing leader. Now there's some things in here that hopefully will resonate. I mean, I normally, and I'm sure Bart does the same thing, we put these presentations together really to instill or reiterate to ourselves what we need to do, and in this situation to become a better leader. So let's start going through this PowerPoint, and as I said, take screenshots, take photos, and just going to move you guys around a bit. I don't know if I've got any room here. Let's see if we can do this. Okay. So network marketing is something that can get a bad reputation simply because most people don't go into it with the right attitude. They see those stories online about earning tens of thousands of dollars every week from a home base and assume that they can get rich quick without having to put forth much effort. And that's just not going to happen, guys. That's why so many people fail. But then they just blame it on the entire network marketing industry, and this is where our industry gets a bad name. The reality is that for many, network marketing offers a direct path to become a business owner and growing your skills and talents in some significant ways. However, it's not an easy path. And the network marketing leaders who are out there making significant changes and getting big results are those who are taking direct steps to better themselves. So knowing what I know now, I would never, ever go back to corporate, to a traditional business, to a day job. We have the best business model on the planet with the best company, ASEA, that ticks every single box. Something that I have learned is it's very important to grow as a person. It's very rare that a person will exceed, it's already very, very rare that a person will exceed, it's very rare that a person's income will exceed their personal growth. So we're going to talk a little bit about personal growth today as well. I'm going to go through these notes and basically slap you guys in the face with what it takes to be the leader you need to be to build this business, leading into Bart going through talking about people who take these steps and have become very successful by being the leader that they needed to be to build this business. The big tips to remember: to really get the best results and to start moving towards your goals in a better way, it's important that you take certain steps on a daily basis and that you remember some fundamental elements that all of the best network marketing leaders have. And simply put, if you want to succeed, then there are a few key things you'll need to remember. Here's a look at just some of them. You don't have to do all of them or take all of them on, but as I hope they resonate with you, because if you make these changes, your business will grow a lot quicker because people will duplicate what you're doing and how you're acting. But the more than that, to adapt these tips into your efforts, the best your success will likely be. So tip number 1. So getting started. Getting started immediately on becoming a leader. So just because you don't have 20 people on your team doesn't mean that you can't start acting like a leader. The best leaders out there actually start by acting as though they have a stable team of members, even if they only have one or none. Grabbing responsibility is the first step towards being a true leader. So if you're not a diamond on this call, and there are a lot of diamonds on this call, we'd recommend that you start acting like a diamond from today.
Hey Dan, can I just interject something on that?
Absolutely.
The thing that I think is really important and is literally start with the end in mind. And just, I guess I'm sort of reiterating what you're saying too, but what we say, our self-talk is so important to us. And I would encourage everybody to say, if you hear a lot of the experts, they say, be, do, and have. So, okay, well, a lot of people think I got to have, and then I can be, and then I can do. In other words, how do I be the leader that I am? If you start with the affirmation of saying, I am a diamond, I am a triple diamond, or I am an ambassador diamond in ASEA, what am I doing to be the ambassador diamond that I am? It puts you in a different posture, and you're starting with the end in mind. So literally, if you sign up at day 1 and you say, okay, my goal is I intend to take this all the way. And so if you just say, what am I doing right now to be the diamond that I am, your posture and everything about you is a little bit different. It's starting with the end in mind. So you don't have to have anybody in your organization. You're starting off with that posture in mind, and you're going to attract who you want to attract to your business. So I think affirmations, Trish Schwenkler is really impressive when it comes to affirmations. And this is part of your self-talk and your affirmations of what you are going to create, because you can create anything. It's just got to start here first. And that's just a decision.
Thanks, Bart. You just come in on every single point, Bart. Understand that you are a leader of people, not just your business. You need to be able to connect with your team members on a personal level and lead them like the people they are, not just as numbers in your business strategy. So something that I've been conscious of my whole life is never to treat anybody as a number. I did that in traditional business. I had hundreds and hundreds of people in my companies over the years. I employed thousands of businesses, and I knew every single one of them individually. I knew their families, I knew their financial situation, I knew them personally. And because I had that personal contact and touch with them, and I knew them that closely and intimately, they were very productive within my businesses. They turned up for work. We had a great relationship. So never ever treat anybody as a number. The great thing I love about ASEA is they don't do that. You can walk into an event and you can be brand new in this business, and they will treat you like a triple diamond.
It's absolutely true. The other thing I'd like to just say kind of goes hand in hand with my previous comment on the affirmation. And that is, ask yourself every day, what am I doing that I want my downline to duplicate? So whether you're starting out day 1, you have no one, what do you want your team to do? What do you want them to duplicate? What kind of relationship do you want them to have with with the team and with the group and the people that they bring on board? So it goes hand in hand with that, but it also goes to your activities of leading by example with your team. And so I mean, write that down. What am I doing? And if you look at that every day, what am I doing today that I want my team to do, to duplicate? What do I want my team to my downline, you know, to model?
Yeah, I suppose just on that point, Bart, I mean, that's going to be a big part of what we're going through today, because your team, your leaders will follow in your steps. And if you're not doing the things that a leader in this industry should be doing, and not guiding them in the right way, they're going to do exactly the same thing. That's just the way it's going to go. Building morale is a must. If you want to really ensure that network marketing works for you, you'll really need to be sure that you build up stronger morale for your team members and even yourself. Plus, building morale in your customers is just as important. Anything on that one, Bart?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one thing that's really important that I learned from my mentor a long time ago. He said, if you're up, then call your downline, and if you're down, call your upline. In other words, you really want to posture yourself in a positive way to the team that you're there to inspire. And it's not to try to mislead anybody, but the last thing you want to do is to poison a negative attitude into people that you're trying to uplift. And your upline, you know, they've probably been there through the same challenges and struggles that you're dealing with. So everybody has up days and down days, and you know, that building morale is really a must, is important. So I think that is really an important aspect in team leadership, is to really make sure that when you communicate with people, you know, when you're in an up mood, man, that's the time to call your downline and show some enthusiasm and some excitement. If you need a little bit of encouragement, then yeah, go upline and get some advice from some people that have been there and done that and can help you.
Look your best. It sounds silly, doesn't it? But even if you're in jeans, you should still look great and look as though you are a leader, because that is what you are. A great leader always looks their best no matter where they are going and what they were doing. It's about confidence, it's about yourself, and instilling it into others as well. So we got to look the part. We got to look the part all the time. I mean, it's crazy when we go to such a big event like Global Convention. You see people in shorts and a t-shirt. I mean, these people that are turning up like that, they're just not serious about, you know, not just building a business, but they're not serious about ASEA and the business. So appearance is very, very important. You really need to become a product of the product. So whether it be physical appearance with what you're wearing, your hair, you know, not telling you how to dress or how to wear your hair or anything, but guys, just look at your appearance overall. Very important. You need to be professional.
Let me throw in two bobs on this too. When I was at Eric Worre's advanced leadership training that he did on the Gulf Coast, you know, it was a fair expense to do that for a number of days. We invested a lot of money into that. This is one thing that he really hammered pretty hard. In fact, he had all the people in our group kind of randomly brought people up in front of the room. He says, if you didn't know anything about this person, what kind of, you know, what do they look like? And he was basically going on how they dressed, how they appear, what their appearance was. What do you think their profession would be, their business? And you know, someone that was dressed pretty casual, they said, oh, he'd probably be I don't know, maybe a Sparky, you know, maybe he'd be an electrician or a construction worker, or, you know, someone else was dressed a little bit kind of new agey. You know, there was all sorts of things. Bottom line is that when people showed up at the class the next few days, they stepped up their game and they stepped up their appearance. And because we only have one chance to make a first impression. And when you go to the convention and you just take notice, how do the top leaders, you know, present themselves? Yeah, generally probably in a sport coat if they're a guy, or if they're a business. So even if it's casual business, it's still pretty smart. Yeah, they look pretty good.
Perfect. Be sure that you treat others with respect that you would want them to give you, whether it's a customer, a new team member, someone you meet at a company event, or someone you've met online. Be sure that you treat everybody with respect. It will impact your overall reputation in a very real way. Something that people tend to forget. Act with integrity, guys. Act with honesty, loyalty, humility. Don't take advantage of people. Don't use and abuse or manipulate anybody for your own gain. Do what's in their best interest. Do what's in the best interest of your team. The great thing about ASEA is the ethos of the company, their principles, and their values. Communicate constantly. Listen to your own leaders and to your own team. They can provide you with new ideas, tell you some issues they are noticing that you need to correct, and more. When you listen to others, you are able to build on your current model and move towards even greater success.
Yeah, on this point, Danny, I think it's important. Sometimes we got to be open to some constructive input. And whenever you give constructive input to someone, it's always nice to lead with something really nice, and ask them if they're open. But hey, that's the only way that we can improve. And so, hey, if anyone ever has constructive, feedback from me, I'm all ears. Doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with everything that someone says, but that's how we improve with, with what we do, is always being open and being, I like putting my cards on the table when I'm talking with someone and just have an open, honest dialogue and communication. Very important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to our leaders in our team, on a regular basis. If not, I'm always checking on their business, which is communicating with them indirectly because they don't know it, but there's always something there. And even if you just got to call somebody and say hello and there's nothing to do with business or anything, in general, just say hello.
Hey, there's one other point on that, Danny. If you just go back for a second, one thing that I find that is really, really important. Sometimes, I don't know, let's call it Chinese whispers or whatever, rumors or back, just chatting about someone can really get out of hand. I would suggest, highly recommend, if you ever have a problem or challenge with anyone, a lot of times it's just a very simple misunderstanding of communication. Find an opportunity to get with that person and have a cup of coffee or have a chat with them and have an honest, just a dialogue and clear the air. Make every effort to really clear any kind of tension in the air. You'll find that, a rising tide lifts all boats. And if we're working together collectively, so this is whether it's your team, upline, crossline, whatever it is, most people have good intentions. And I think that, that sometimes you can just, let your mind run wild with what you think people might be thinking, saying, doing. Just clear communication is so important.
Yeah, I think we touch on it later on, but you don't know what's going on in someone's personal life for that to happen or for a situation. Find your top producers and really devote yourselves to them. You shouldn't ignore any of your team, but there's a good chance that you'll spot some top team members. Try to identify at least 5 of them and do all you can to help promote them and their efforts. It could be as simple as giving them a quick call, which is what we just spoke about, to tell them how proud you are, or something like giving them a gift that will help them further themselves even more. No matter what step you take, find your top team members and develop their skills. This is going to sound harsh, guys, but don't waste time with people that waste your time. As a leader, you need to recognize who is going to earn your time and who doesn't deserve your time. So it sounds harsh, but you need to be productive. The only investment in this business is your time, and you can't afford to waste it. Income producing activity is the only thing that will get this incredible product into the hands of people.
Yeah, 100%. You want to spend 95% of your time with the people who are your top producers. And by doing that, in fact, I would suggest that you even have kind of mentally just categorize people in 2 groups. You can think of them as red apples and green apples. But really, you're looking for the people who are leaders, the people who are hungry and want to step up. And by the way, leader is just someone who's willing to do what it takes. I was just, it doesn't matter where they come from. Trish Schwenkler, for example, will tell you that she's never really had a real job in her whole life. She was a stay-at-home mom. It was through series of events in her husband's life of getting downsized that she got seriously motivated. And look, she's the one and only presidential triple diamond in ASEA right now. So it doesn't matter who they are. You can find top producers anywhere. It's the people who are hungry, who are willing to do the work. And if you focus 95% of your time with those people, and then you have another group of people that basically your top leaders are there to support everybody else with, webinars, with training events and everything that people can plug into, then eventually, hopefully those people will step up and become leaders themselves. But definitely by focusing with the top producers and people who are, who are doing the work, you will help a lot more people. If you got to drag people in, then you got to drag them around, and that's not a lot of fun. But if you've got people who are hungry, who are out talking with people and making things happen, it gets a whole lot more exciting. You agree with that, Danny?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a quick shout out to a red apple of mine who's brand spanking new. Elizabeth Molliker is on this call from Arkansas, and she's been in the business for 10 days. She grabbed a friend. She drove all the way down to Dallas, Texas to see Tyler Norton last Saturday, and she's already enrolled her first 2 people. So well done for being the red apple you are and becoming the leader that you need to be, Elizabeth.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Well done. Great to see your face.
No problem.
All righty. So give back on a regular basis. We're not talking about just giving back to the community here. What we mean is giving back to your team when they go above and beyond. And it's not just relegating to your immediate team members either. You can give, this is just an example, you can give back to those who help you as well. A shipping agent who sped up delivery for you could deserve something as simple as a thank you card. A team member who worked longer than needed to set up and display a display deserves a gift card from Starbucks as an example. Think of who is doing more for you and give them a little thank you. Don't neglect recognition. Recognition is one of the most important things in our business. There are so many ways that you can recognize and thank your team or individuals for their achievements. Be creative and do something special for yourself when you also achieve or reach a goal.
Trish Schwenkler is, I'm bringing her up again. This is one thing I really respect and admire about her. When we do events, she's absolutely keen and makes every effort to recognize, and give people the time and credit for what they do. Here she's incredibly successful, bringing in huge amounts of money and so forth, but she's always very, very humble and gracious with everybody. And Dan, you're the same way. I mean, that's what top leaders do. Ed Weens, he's always extremely gracious and giving and so forth. So look for opportunities to connect with people and to recognize them, because that really is the culture of ASEA. That's really important, and that's how you're going to grow your business. People love to be appreciated.
Absolutely. We have to go through this type of stuff, guys, because sometimes people don't think they're doing things that they are, and unfortunately it's hurting people that they don't know that's hurting. So leaders don't lead through fear. It's a mistake that far too many leaders make. You want people to respect you, but that doesn't mean that you want them to constantly fear your arrival. Try to lead in a positive way instead of through negative actions and trying to bring down major punishments. Never, ever, ever be in a situation where anybody fears you. You want your team to be able to approach you for any reason and be comfortable in doing so. Never criticize, complain, or condemn. If you're in this situation, you really need to look at yourself. Find a way to help yourself grow. Don't depend on anybody to build your business for you, to help you grow. Stay humble and make people feel important and valued.
This point is absolutely brilliant, because my previous lifetime ago, many years ago, working for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and Danny, I know with the fact that you had lots of different businesses, and anybody that's worked in corporate America, it's just dog eat dog. It's crush the competition. It's try to beat the next guy to the top, or the next level, or the next promotion, or whatever. It's very, very competitive. The cool thing about this about this profession, about the network marketing profession, is it's a volunteer army. Not a single person signed up to have a boss or to punch a card or to have someone tell them what to do. It's all about the synergy of working together. So it's a different dynamic than what most people, what their backgrounds are typically used to. And, trying to lead through fear, it's just not going to work. Maybe it might work with a few select, people, but that's not what we want to model in our team. So really just realizing that this is synergistic effort, that you're working together and you've got a vested interest in their success. So you want to help build them up as a person and not try to, suppress them with fear.
Absolutely. As the system does with us in any country around the world. Alrighty, organize training sessions to help your group learn more. Let's say you carry out a product developed by a specific person and he's willing to do short conference calls or video Skype conferences to talk more about their products. Organize that and get your group together. You can get more inspired about the products that they are selling. That's another key element of being a good leader, helping your team find motivation and their drive. You are trying to lead a group to success for all of you. Taking the time to point out the different ways that you want your team to succeed is important, and giving them inspiration in your products and in your company is a must. Recognition, motivation, and inspiring your team like it's a full-time job. Post wins and testimonials, consistently and actively work on recognizing, motivating, and inspiring your team.
Yeah, you're really good at this, Dan, and that's really helping helping people to set targets. Really reaching for the stars, so to speak. Helping, you've done that with me. To realize that, oh, hey, you can do it, go for it. When I think certain goals are kind of out of reach, you really set the bar high and you have a no limits attitude. So this is really a great skill that you can inspire in other people too, to absolutely believe in them and help them to step up to their leadership potential.
For sure. Leaders don't go negative or badly talk about anybody, no matter what the person has done or what others think. Lifting yourself up by bringing others down isn't a leadership quality in the least. I mean, this literally just speaks for itself. Yeah, I mean, there's no room in this business, no room in ASEA for somebody who is like this at all.
This is really an important point, because I've seen organizations completely disintegrate because someone started doing exactly this. I've seen it's absolutely probably the quickest way to kill your team is to create an atmosphere of rumors and backchatting and that sort of thing. That kind of goes back to the comment that I had before. If you ever have any conflict, resolve it. Do everything in your power to resolve it. Never talk negatively or badly about other people. It just is not going to serve you in the long run, and it certainly isn't going to. Putting other people down is not going to lift you up. You might think it will in the short term, but it's just human nature. Just keep checks on yourself. And part of this is human nature. You just want to really make sure that you're, thinking and behaving like a proper leader. And so, good leaders don't do that.
You also need to hold on to your passion and let others see it. That energy and love you have for what you are doing can become quite infectious and help inspire others to seize it in the same way. It could keep them motivated in a big way. Guys, their dreams are your dreams. Your vision board should have their vision board next to it. I always ask my leaders, the people who want to build this business, what their dreams are, what their goals, their targets, their focus is, their vision in life. And I make sure that I help understand that and then help them to achieve that. Set them up for success, believe in them, and help them to believe in themselves. Your belief in them will be what lights their fire.
Helping people identify their why is everything. You can do a little bit of an exercise too. It might sound a little bit, a little bit silly, but if you just handed someone a pen and say, look, if this was a magic, I want you to just play, this is kind of silly, but look, if you, might sound a little corny, but I want you to just pretend with me for a second. If this pen or this pencil was a magic wand, and if this was a business that could create anything for you, your family, the people you care about, the people you love, what would you want out of an ASEA business? And the challenge is that most people have forgotten how to dream. Most people, so many people have had so many challenges and setbacks and been kicked in the teeth or the gut so many times that they're just afraid to dream. And you need to let them know that this is a vehicle where they can truly believe. And if they do, the bigger their vision is, the easier it is the bigger your vision is, the easier it is for other people to become a part of it. If your vision is just really small and, hey, I'd like to earn a few $100s every month, and it might help me out a little bit, it's kind of hard to inspire them to think, I want to play big. I want to change thousands of people's lives. I want to create a real freedom income. There's not a whole lot of room. So it's not only good to dream big and think big, but it's important to. As a leader, you want to have some big goals, dreams, and visions, and believe in yourself that you have the self-worth and the value to do that. So just if you do that little exercise, with people, and just say, look, this might sound a little silly. Just pretend you're 6 years old, and if this was a vehicle, what would you want? Where would you want to, if you could travel, where would you want to travel? And they might say, oh, I don't know. Well, if you did know, I'm going to buy airline tickets for two. Where are you going to go? Who are you going to take with you? There's a car parked out in the front here. I've got the keys for it right here. It's anything that you could dream or want. What is it? If you could give back to society, what would you do? Who would you like to help? You could, maybe it's their family, but you're helping them to really think a little bit about some dreams and goals. And then, Danny, like you said, have a vision board, help them to make that real so that they can see it, feel it, taste it, really bring all those feelings into it. Where would they like to live? Who would they, what would life feel like every day? And that's going to really help them to get through all those challenging times, because you're always going to have ups and downs. Life's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. It is for every one of us, no matter what you do. But as long as you have your why dialed in, and you help your people, even more importantly, to have their why dialed in, their dreams, their goals and ambitions, and their desires, then that's going to help them get through whatever the challenges are.
Always acknowledge others, especially when they are fellow leaders. Even a short introduction in the vein of, today, Mr. Such and Such is joining us. He's part of such and such's team and is here to observe and maybe answer a few questions about what they do. Is all it takes to let your team know that you are working with others and to maintain respect from others. So I make it a point, and I've always made it a point, to pull the field together, to work with other diamonds, to work with Crossline, to work with each other. We will move forward much faster together rather than being a solopreneur and working by yourself. A great example of this and how things have come back to me in a way that I could never imagine is Bart and I, and the example of, we worked in another business together. And I was in a different business within that business to him, and I used to help people with their business around the world, no matter whose teams they were in. Bart reached out to me. He was living in the country in Australia at the time. He wasn't in my business, and he said, hey, you're doing well. What are you doing? I need to know. Can you help? And we worked together. And if I wasn't like that, and I said to Bart, well, you're not in my business, I don't want to waste my time with you, what would have happened? Bart wouldn't have reached out to me when it came to ASEA, and if he didn't reach out to me, I wouldn't be here now. Most of you know my story, and if you don't, look it up on YouTube. But I physically wouldn't be here if I didn't work Crossline or looked at ASEA as one family. As far as I'm concerned, every single person in this business is in my business, is in our business. It's our business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one thing I really love about the culture that we've got, particularly, really it's the culture of ASEA, but we've really got a great culture here in Australia of working together, Crossline, upline, downline with everybody. And that's something that you always want to nurture, because what comes around goes around. It's a great example, Dan.
So I'm always putting it out there, who wants to play with me? Let's do it.
Yeah, it will come back around for sure.
Absolutely. If you really want to be a great leader, stay ethical. Even if you are in a situation where you are the only person who will know that you made the right ethical choice, it's important to do just that. Taking shady actions can do more than ruin your reputation. It can also bring your entire future down. Guys, there's no room at all for unethical behavior. There's just no excuses. Create the right alliances, and this is what we're just talking about. Your company doesn't exist in a vacuum. If you want to ensure that you are working to grow and develop your business in the best possible way, be sure that you set up relationships with others in the field to ensure that you move forward or towards your ultimate goals. Bart's already used this one. A rising tide
lifts all boats.
That's it. So this is another example of working with everybody within your organization, not just people within your own business. If you can let someone else talk for you, do it. We are not talking about official announcements here, but let's say that you have a guest speaker or someone who is knowledgeable about a particular subject close by. Instead of telling your team what you want them to learn from the speaker, let the speaker do the talking for you. Placing your trust in others shows that you are wiser than many and that you want to share knowledge from other people as well. Consistently work on developing your leaders. Help them to be confident, capable, committed, coachable, and good communicators, and to become independent from you as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And look for every opportunity to help someone. You know, a lot of people are really afraid of public speaking to begin with. Maybe some of you on the call are too. You're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Discover ASEA presentation. I'm going to lean on somebody else. But you know, as you're developing those skills, even take a little bit. You know, having someone come up and share their product testimonial, teaching them how to do that, taking a segment of a presentation to really talk about the you know, the company side or the products, share a little bit about the product or talk about some some of the before and after testimonials on the slides. You can do all that. So it's just about getting your feet wet and getting started. I remember, I go back to my mentor when I first started this. He said, anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly first. Meaning that, you know, you don't have to be perfect. And sometimes we think we got to have it down perfect, but you know, it's okay to stumble a little bit. You know, especially if you've got someone you just, you know, to do a small portion or a small bit, you know, people are pretty forgiving and they'll give you attaboys for giving it a go.
Yeah, I was sort of pushed into this situation. Going back just a short few years, I went to a presentation. I organized the people in the room. I had 5 or 6 close friends. I had the person who was delivering the presentation. We got there. I went to walk away, and the person who was going to deliver the presentation, the speaker said, hey, you've got to introduce me. And I could not get up in front of anybody and say anything, not even to introduce somebody. I was so bad. But this person forced me to do the introduction, otherwise he wasn't going to do the presentation. If somebody actually wants to get up there and do something and take the reins, encourage it, let them do it. But on the other hand, encourage people and almost push them into the situation where you're getting them out of their comfort zone, because we want people to step up and this is what this is all about, becoming the leader that they need to become to build a business like this. Guys, don't lose your cool. This is a bad situation. This would have cost him some money, especially over trivial things. It's easy for business leaders to get bent out of shape over something as simple as missing a phone call or an email server going down. But in the long run, the way that you conduct yourself in these situations is more important than the situations themselves. Keep your cool. Focus on the growth of your company and the development of your team instead of just on the big bucks check. The best leaders with the most loyal groups aren't those who treat everything like it's a number getting plugged into their pay scale. They are the ones who look at the bigger picture and who work to grow a business, not earn a bigger bonus. As a leader, you need to help people to get what they want. Invest in your leaders and their business. Vertus Norton's vision is to see ASEA turning over $1 billion in sales per year. That's what I focus on, and I know he knows by achieving that, he and we would have touched so many lives.
You know, the one thing I think it's probably appropriate to mention on this particular point is the ethos. The one thing that I think sets ASEA apart from every other company out there, besides the fact that we've got the best products in the world, but it's the culture and the ethos. And if you look and if you listen to Tyler Norton at any of the presentations that he does, he is so gracious and so respectful of other people. And in fact, I remember, Dan, you remember when we were at the flying event, and
October 2014. Yes, I remember it well.
And Tyler, you know, drew up on the board. He talked about the ego and economic motivations versus principles versus
Principles and purpose.
Our capacity. And he basically said that we always want to strive to put our principles, our principles, our values above our ego and economic motivations. He said there's nothing wrong with being money motivated. There's nothing wrong with having a strong ego. But if you always make sure that your principles are the main priority, then you're going to succeed. And this is really, I think, going to the culture. It's sort of that phrase sort of blends over, several of the points that we've talked about here, but truly appreciating the culture that we have within ASEA and not treating people like they're, not just looking at the numbers, but it's based on real people.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with making money. I mean, we're here to do that, but, we're doing it as a direct result and byproduct of helping people. And that's what the company teaches us, to help people and help people to help people, and everything else happens. As long as people recognize with their time the difference between being busy and productive. If you're not generating an income at that time, you're not getting product into people's hands. So just be conscious of moving into being productive. And but as Bart just mentioned, it's all principle and purpose based with everything that we do.
Yeah, it's interesting too. For every dollar that we earn, it actually does represent people's lives being changed, and helping, in some cases, saving lives, right, Danny? And
absolutely.
And so, if that's the case, well, then if that's our scoreboard for our financial success, well, then look, we might as well all become extremely wealthy. Let's go out and make a lot of money. But when you put the focus on, it's all about just keeping the principles above I mean, we can definitely have strong egos and huge economic motivations, but it's just putting the principles first in that equation.
Find your vision and ensure that it's clear and obvious to you. Today's business leaders need to know where they want their company to go and how to get there. If you don't have a clear vision, it will be harder for you to lead and help others to follow. A clear vision, goals, purpose, reason, targets, and dreams are essential to have something to aim for and something to strive for. Believe that you can achieve whatever you want in life and go for it.
Yeah, the one thing, Danny, your vision is big enough for everybody to be part of and inclusive of. And so, when you communicate, when you talk to people about, how you're building this, where you're going with this, what this is part, people want to be a part of, people want to be on a winning team. They want to be on a train that's going somewhere. And so this kind of goes to the point before of helping people identify their why, get real clear, have a big vision and that will actually help your business to grow too. It's important to have a vision to build a massive team of visionary leaders, and you'll start manifesting, you'll attract that into your business.
Absolutely. True leaders don't get discouraged when a setback occurs. The fact of the matter is that sometimes things are going to go wrong, and you need to be able to confront unexpected challenges and not let them destroy your motivation. Instead, learn from each setback or problem and take it as a chance to grow your business in new ways. You are ultimately responsible for building your business, though. Never let anything discourage you or stop you from doing so, regardless of the environment that might be telling you otherwise.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do, any kind of business or anything, you're gonna have ups and downs. Sometimes those can be, I guess, if you think life is happening for you and not to you, sometimes that gives you an opportunity to grow as a leader. And sometimes you might think of things as, insurmountable challenges and obstacles. And I mean, even in opening Australia, we thought that, that ASEA, we just had to build this with Renew 28 to begin with, and, expecting the approval to have the ASEA for a long time, but we just, kept moving forward and found ways around it. And ultimately you just become a stronger, better person by getting through those challenges.
Yeah, you can't really look at a win or those highs and go, wow, well, this is fantastic. I mean, if it comes down, you've got those low lows. Really, it's what Mal Sword says about riding the roller coaster. You need to keep it as neutral as possible.
That's right.
Responsibility is something that is often overlooked. To be a great leader, you need to be able to admit your mistakes and learn from them, not try to shift the blame onto someone else's shoulders. This helps you grow and learn, but it also helps you show your team that you are the kind of leader they can trust and count on. Say on that one. Yeah, I mean, it just comes back to the responsibility. The responsibility for building your business is totally up to you. It's going to come back on you. You can't depend on me, on Bart, on your upline, on your downline, on your team to build your business. You just got to go out there and do it. I've got weaknesses in my business. There's things that are happening that I don't like, but that really urges me to push on and push through and just make sure that I've got that end game. I can see a clear vision where I need to go, and there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting there.
It's interesting too that everything is happening in your life is clearly determined. You've manifested everything, whatever it is. So when you have a problem, a setback, a challenge, you need to go look in the mirror and say, what did I do to create this? What did I do to manifest this? It's always easy to put the blame on someone else, but if you really take an honest look, you can probably find some way, some reason, something that where you've kind of brought that about. And true leaders will quickly step up and take responsibility for where they've, maybe fallen a little bit short, and step up their game. It's easy to try to put the blame on somebody else, but just to take responsibility for wherever you've fallen short is the best thing that you can do to move yourself forward. Just do it.
Leading with compassion matters too. Sometimes your team members may not be able to attend a seminar or may turn in a lackluster performance during a certain week. Don't get frustrated with them. You never know what they are facing in their personal lives. Instead, use compassion and common sense. Guys, you've got to be patient. With everybody in your team, you need to help them, you need to guide them, you need to support them. This is all part of being a leader. I mean, there's no use, if you go back to Bart saying that this is a voluntary army, people have their own personal lives. There's going to be situations they can't control. Just use compassion and common sense when it comes to anything that's going on anytime with any of your team members.
Well, that statement is so powerful. You never know what they may have been facing in their personal life. I mean, there's so many circumstances. Could have been health, relationship issues, some massive challenge with one of their kids. You just have no idea. So if someone, doesn't respond back to you with a, happy, joy sort of attitude, they might have a good reason for it. You just have to, and so often we take this personal. So often we think, oh, it's about me. It's, they're not living up to what they said they were going to do. I think it's really important to just take to just understand and kind of take a step back and say, and just realize that they may have things going on in their personal life. And maybe it's an opportunity for you even throw a little compassion and find out, hey, what's going on in life? You know, whether they open up or not, it's a chance to build some bridges and to connect with them and help them out in other ways too.
Yeah, you're a perfect example of this, Bart. I mean, I come to you upline. There might be things happening personally or in business, and I whinge and complain and carry on. And you're the best at compassion and cooling my head. So appreciate that. There are times where we're not perfect. Good leaders become part of their team, not just a figurehead. Simply put, you are not always going to know more than everyone. Instead of just ignoring the ideas and comments that your team has for you, listen to them. You could be able to grow your business and inspire your group. You are the leader, but you don't have to be an authoritarian. Keep an open mind, and we expect people that we are with people. I'm going to read this again. I think this is really, really important because I really, from what I can see in the industry, there's a lot of leaders that think that's it. They are the leader. They're better than anybody else. In business, as a CEO, managing director, as a leader here in ASEA, I'm on the same playing field as everybody else. I'm not better than anybody else. So this is a really important one to me. Good leaders become part of their team, not just a figurehead. Simply put, you are not always going to know more than everyone. Instead of just ignoring the ideas and comments that your team has for you, listen to them. If they're calling out, if they're screaming out for something, if they're looking at changes, if they're giving you ideas, make sure you take notice. You could be able to grow your business and inspire your group. You are the leader, but you don't have to be an authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
I think for the Chinese, let's use another word. Everybody on this call to understand that at the end of the day, you do not know everything. Your team has some great ideas. Listen to them because they could help everybody move forward with their ASEA business.
Hey, Danny, on this point, this is something that I've always really strived to do big time. I think that after every single appointment, after every phone call, three-way phone call, for example, or every meeting or whatever, is take the time to do a little bit of reflecting and an evaluation. And in fact, just ask people, let's say if you're doing a three-way, you know, I've done that. We've done this before, Danny. I said, hey, what did you like about that call? What went well with that call? Because obviously whatever went well, you want to do more of that. And you want to do more of whatever went well. And if something didn't go well, you think, well, how could we improve that? What could we have done better? How could I have connected with this person, you know, better? You know, and I just recall even from the very first time I got involved in this, you know, in this profession, you know, always kind of doing a bit of a debrief, you know, going to the coffee shop and say, hey, what went really well? I could be real excited about it, but that's how we improve the best, is by having some honest reflection and just thinking, you know, what could have improved, what could have done better. And by the way, that's how we've actually created the last event on the Gold Coast. It was exceptional because we pulled together as a team and said, how can we make this better? And
yeah,
so
you're not going to brainstorm with yourself. You've got to brainstorm with your team.
that's right. So whether it's just a one-on-one, whether it's a coffee shop meeting or a three-way phone call, or if it's a big event, really step up your game. And every time you do it, you got an opportunity to improve and to have an honest, you know, a little bit of honest reflection of what could have gone better and how could I improve. And by the way, pat yourself on the back for what you did well. Really capture those moments of what you did well, because you want to do more of that.
If your team is screaming out to you as a leader to do something or change something, just go and do it. Go and do it and see how it goes. And if it's not happening, if your leaders aren't doing it, this is where you become the leader and just go and do it yourself. It's as simple as that. I mean, there was no way I was going to wait for Bart to build my business. Phenomenal support from Melissa and Bart. They introduced me in the webinars and training and everything they put on, and the time and effort they put into the team is just incredible. But, you know, I went and created my own webinars and training and team calls and events. You don't wait for anybody. If you're not happy, just go and do it. Not that I wasn't happy with Bart, but I just stepped it up to even help him and support his team and the rest of the field.
Absolutely.
Always learn. Whether you are spending an hour reading about a new product, checking out a blog from a network marketing professional about how to develop new leads, or just thinking back on past experience and how you can grow from it, the best leaders are always learning new skills and ideas. It can make a big difference in your success. So guys, never ever stop learning and growing. Consistently work on developing your leaders and creating the tools and training for them to make sure that they've got the skills as well, and encouraging them to develop and grow to move forward in their business. As I said, it's very rare that your income will exceed the rate of your personal growth. Alrighty, this is a scary one for a lot of people. I'm just getting into it. It's something that you need to get into. It's something that you need to learn. And if you start on the lowest level, I suppose, which is the easiest in Facebook, and get plugged into our private Facebook pages, to really lead your company to success, you'll want to use all the tools out there that are available. Today's leaders use blogs, videos, social media, and more to connect with others. Be sure that you use everything available to you in order to help grow your business and your bottom line. So as I said, social media is an incredible tool. Get on Facebook, any other social media platform available. These tools are very powerful, and used correctly contribute substantially to the growth of your business and your team's business. Bart, you're great on Facebook. We've got the WhatsApp groups. You're always posting in them and making sure everybody's informed. You're doing videos and posting all sorts of information for people to have a look at.
Look, the reality is, Dan, some people have said, oh, you're really good on this kind of stuff. The truth is, I feel like a complete retard when it comes to this stuff. Technology, I'm horrible at, but I just realized that it's a skill set that I need to learn. And so if you made a list of all the skill sets that you want to, as a major leader, what do you need to do? What do you need to become? Well, you should probably look at saying, I want to be a good presenter. I want to be able to talk in front of people. I want to be able to have a presence and create some branding for myself and for my team. So these are all things that you work toward. And if something, this sounds really stupid, but I remember how magical I thought it was to just know how to cut and paste on, something from a document. I thought, whoa, that's magic. I don't have to retype the whole thing. So it doesn't matter what it is, just take a step and move forward. We're either growing or we're dying. And there's a book called The Compound Effect, and it just says, if you just consistently work on things a little bit at a time, you're you'll be amazed at where you're at just by taking some steps to do that. So just learn from the people who are doing the right things and just make it happen. Just do it and just plug in. You'll figure it out. This
is just another example of getting out of your comfort zone, and getting somebody to help you to set up social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. I'm behind the times. I'm really getting this going this year, but I can tell you my business now, from actually tapping into these online tools and in the internet, my business is growing out of sight. Everything that I've done until now has been belly-to-belly meetings, phone calls, but this is going to be a big part of the future.
Hey, let me just mention something here too. Please do not think that social media is going to build your business. This is an add-on tool that helps to build credibility. You can maybe make some connections here, but there are some people that have had the illusion that all I got to do is set up a Facebook account and post some things and my business will grow. It does not happen that way. You absolutely have to have the relationship. So with social media, you've got to build those relationships. And if you're connecting with someone on Messenger, for example, that's a friend that maybe you don't really know that well, or maybe you don't even know at all, but they've been a friend of a friend that you've just connected with. Take the time to build the relationships and work the social media way properly. But don't think that just setting up some groups and posting stuff is going to build your business, because it absolutely will not. You need to pick up the phone. You need to make the calls and to follow up with people. Otherwise, this is it's just a door opener. Think of it that way.
Yeah, get them on the webinars, get them on the training, get them on the calls, get them to events. This is just one way out of many, one arm of your business, one way to build your business. Another key thing to remember if you want to be a better leader is simply to keep at your work. Leaders don't take a few days off. They spend several hours each day trying to round up leads and sell products. You don't have to overwork yourself to death, but deciding just to stop for a day could mean stopping for weeks or months, and by then, it's too late, or it could be too late. Build your business with all-out massive action. Bart and I have said many a times that this business is front-end loaded, guys. You really need to move it hard and fast when you start it. There's no time to relax. So what are you looking at here? 3 to 5 years of hard, consistent work to set yourself up for the rest of your life, or the alternative is to add a 0 onto that 3 to 5 years, which doesn't sound like something that anybody wants to do, but unfortunately some people are caught in the system and think that that's easier than what we can do. Get the traction and momentum to propel you and your team to residual income.
It's the magic of residual income. This business is, Eric Worre says, network marketing is not perfect, but it absolutely is a better way. And we're going to go through some numbers here in a second on what it takes to really create these residual income, to create a solid residual income in the business after we finish the next few points. And I think you'll see exactly how this plays out.
A leader is always thinking about new ways to improve their business and its future. Whether it's a new contact that you want to, I don't like using the word convince because we're not in a convincing business, to join your team, or a new way to market the products. You should always be thinking about your company and its future. Always think for your team. Think for your team. You're a leader. Your business and the company, be creative, think outside of the box. Guys, you should be always thinking of ways to advance your business. There's not just one way that you're going to build this business. It's not going to be just talking about products. It's not going to be meeting people in a certain way. It's not going to be a few things. I always have talked about in the past the octopus effect and doing multiple things at once to build your network marketing business. But always think outside of what we are doing, come up with new ways, be creative, and help your team to move forward to build their business as well. Yeah.
There are some exciting things that are coming up that are going to be launched at convention and so forth that the company's doing that are tool related. And quite frankly, Melissa's invested hundreds of hours in putting some tools together that we'll be using to help support the team too. That'll be being rolled out in the not too distant future. So, same thing though. Just think in terms of what can you do to support your team to be the leader.
Yeah. So with these incredible announcements that Bart's talking about that will be announced at convention in Vegas, you want to have the biggest team as you can leading into this event. You want to take as many people to this event as possible, and you obviously want to get there with them yourself. Experiment. Don't be afraid to try something new just to see if it works. You may be wasting your time, but what if you aren't? The best leaders are willing to try out new opportunities and ideas. Anything that you are doing or trying to do to build your business always take into consideration 3 things. Anytime that you're looking at doing something, changing something, implementing something, you always have to think and take into consideration production, promotions, and payouts. Always keep them in consideration with anything that you're doing with your business. The last one, guys, never give up. That's the biggest one and why we have added it last. You'll be working hard and working consistently at times, but the key is to keep moving towards your goals in a meaningful way. Don't ever give up. The only time that you will ever fail in this business or in anything at all is if you give up.
Boy, and how true is this? I won't name anyone in particular, but there's a couple people that I'm thinking of that started basically the same time we did, Dan. That they had the people, they had the skills, the network marketing skills, and great IT skills, all kinds of different things. But I know of some people that are literally struggling, basically on the verge of bankruptcy, and just basically because they gave up, they quit, and they just decided to do other things. What we've got our hands on here is absolutely for real, guys. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Things like ASEA don't come around, but it's not a get rich quick thing. It takes some time. It takes some effort. You have to be willing to learn, grow, and all these points that we just discussed here. You need to step up and be a leader. Some of the examples that I've got in my mind, and again, I'm not going to say any names particularly, but they just quit. That's the only difference, is that they did not persist. And if they would have persisted and been team players, teachable, and been the leaders that they certainly could have and should have been, they would have been having the rewards that, the financial rewards and every other reward that comes with being a leader in ASEA, that Danny's experienced, that Mal Sword's experienced, that we've experienced. It's just a matter of stepping up and not quitting.
Those 30 tips should help you start moving your network marketing company into the future. It can be a long road, but the rewards are well worth it at the end. And being a better leader will help you reach those goals. Doing what you do is all about helping people. A byproduct of helping people is all about designing the life that you want to live and the life that you love. As a leader, duplicate these simple things, these simple tips: peaking interest, follow-up closing, product plans, back office training, balance doing multiple things to run your business, all even and all at once. Be a servant leader and be served for the rest of your life. Now, we've got a lot of leaders in this business that probably do everything that they're supposed to do and do it correctly and have adopted these 30 tips and more. We're going to give some really good examples of that now with some real life statistics with leaders in this business, and you're going to know who they are. So we're going to shift a gear. Is there anything you want to finish up on this part of the presentation, Bart?
No, I think that's excellent. These are 30 really solid points and tips. Some of them kind of overlap a little bit, but they're really great points that I'm glad that we've had an opportunity to share some of these ideas and these concepts. And I really hope that you've learned a few things where you can step up your game if you're on this call. And like I said, Dan, we want to go through some examples. And if you may have seen this presentation before, because it was one that I did at the peak performance that we did at the Gold Coast. But I want to run through this. Let me I got to share my screen here. Danny, let me see if I can pull this up. Share screen. There we are. And share and slideshow. Let me just play from the start here. And I'm going to run through some of these slides because I want to go through the real numbers, and we want to, as Danny mentioned, we want to show some real live examples of people that have built an amazing business, because our goal is to help you to build a huge business. So we already talked about this. What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to become? Get clear on this. This is the why that we discussed before. If you got a clear why, I'll get you through any of the ups and downs that you want to go through. And it's I love what Mal Sword says. He said, I believe that anybody can go diamond. And you know what? I believe that too. Some of us have paid our dues in other things in life that have been, in sales or in marketing or building businesses. We've paid our dues beforehand, or some people may have paid their dues in other hands. Maybe you're going to pay your dues in ASEA, but this is the chance to read and learn and grow and step up and build your skills. Network marketing is nothing more than life in fast forward. I mean, you're definitely going to learn and grow as you do this. So get clear on what your goals are. Um, you know, this is a little bit basic, but I'm going to just touch on this real quick. For people who are brand new on this, you want to be a product of the product. You want to set yourself up on auto ship. This is part of leading by example. You want to obviously share the products with other people. You need to make a list. Make a list. Don't think of 3 or 4 or 5 people that would be really good at this. You want to think of everybody, because when you understand what the products are doing for people, literally everybody needs to know about this technology. And don't prejudge people. You'll be surprised at, some of the people that, that like Trish Schwenker was a housewife, never had a real job, working for anyone else before, but she's the top leader in the whole company. People will surprise you. And the other thing is, you never know who someone can lead you to. So working in depth. So make a list and work that in depth. Learn some scripts and set daily goals. How many people a day that you're going to talk with and follow up with. So you need to have a plan. Dan, I know that you're a master at planning your day. You've got use a organizational planner, and you've got your schedule mapped out. Plug in with your team. So whether it be weekly workshops. Now, let's say if you've got a team and your upline isn't doing a workshop or whatever, step up, be the leader. You just create it, and then go to upline and have them participate or help if they can. And when I say upline, I'm not talking about your sponsor necessarily. I'm talking about going up until you find the leaders that can give you the help and support that you need. But just step up and think of yourself as the leader to do whatever you need to do to get things started. Attend major events. Dan, you just talked about the convention. Now I realize that the convention in Las Vegas is a big deal. It's a big expense to travel to Las Vegas to be there. But I tell you what, if you want to put your business, if you want to accelerate your business tenfold, you will be there, because the vision that you will create at that event will absolutely explode your business. If you learn and the networking and everything else that happens at those events, your vision will be exponential in how that helps. So simply teach other people to do the same. And that's the process that we want to take people through. So quite often we overcomplicate what it takes to build this business. So don't overcomplicate it. Keep it pretty simple. Let's see, Danny, I don't know if you can, there we go. Just muted, it's a little bit of feedback there. So we've got, this is just I love this hill. You're climbing the mountain. It's a great way. Sometimes you climb a mountain and you get to one peak and you find out, well, there's some more peaks that I need to climb. So set your goal. If we look at this presentation, we kind of looked at bronze. If you're not at bronze yet, set that as the target to get to bronze, first. What does it take to do bronze? And then really the diamond ranks. And when I say diamond, it's diamond and beyond. So diamond's the dream. But for this particular presentation, I put some figures in here for bronze so that you can see exactly what it takes to go bronze. On the overall averages, let's see, this is just the qualifications of what it takes to go bronze. 200 personal volume, and then 2,000 points on the left and the right leg of your business. And you've helped at least 2 people to qualify at Director 300. So there's no way that you're going to move up in this business without helping other people to succeed. So that's what we've been talking about all along, is helping your team to grow and succeed. And you've got to have at least 2 people who want to start sharing this with some other people and help them to hit that. Now, even at the bronze, you're looking at about 2,700 average to a high of over $7,000, even at the bronze level. You're also qualifying for the EMP bonus. So what we're looking at here is the real figures of what it takes. Now, the next thing we want to look at is the enrollment numbers. Now, obviously, I like what Tyler Norton says. He says product, which have obviously our ASEA products, and activity equals productivity. So we got to go out and we got to talk to some people. So in our productivity, you want to bring in, the average bronze is only sponsored 13 people. That's not a lot of people. It's pretty simple to do that. In fact, that's averaging about two people a month when we look at the statistics. And we can see that they've duplicated. So every person they brought in, as on average, they've got 4 additional people in their team. They might have a team of 65 people. So this is, again, starting with the end in mind, kind of visualizing your team growing and expanding and helping make that happen by creating the event. So if we look at diamond, going diamond, and the reason we've done this is going diamond is doing nothing more than doing the exact same activities that it took to go bronze. It's just doing it with some consistent. So network marketing absolutely loves consistency. If you're on an escalator that's coming down, you got to keep running up that escalator to make sure that you don't end up at the bottom. You got to keep, the fact is that you got to keep having some consistent effort in going up and growing. So the same activity to go bronze, you just got to follow up with people. You also need to work in depth. Now, this is a concept that is quite new to some people, particularly if they've had a sales background. Sometimes you think, well, I've made that, I've signed that person up, I've made that, sell. Next, I'm going to go look for more people. Well, that's when things really just begin. When you enroll someone, you need to help them to find out what their goals and their dreams, their ambitions are, and then help go to work with them, because that's going to create the synergy for them to have what they need. So on average, now these are really important numbers to look at. The average diamond, it only took them 21 months to achieve diamond. And if you look at the numbers, it's 15,000 points or about 150 cases of product on the left and on the right side of their business. And at this point in time, you've helped 6 people who are consistently qualifying at Director 300. And let's see. Danny, I think there might be a little bit of feedback. If you can find who might be making that noise, that might be a little bit helpful. So the average diamond is earning about $21,000. This is Australian dollars, of course. And the high is over 33,000. So if that would make a difference in your lifestyle, well, pay attention. Let's see what it takes to actually earn that. Now we've looked, here's the income disclosure statement for all of the ranks. Even the ambassador diamond ranks, you can see is approaching $300,000 a month. So you can see that the diamond is really just the beginning, and you can absolutely achieve these ranks. It's just making the clear decision to and doing the things that we just talked about. Now this has taken all the diamonds and actually looking at what the time frame was for them to achieve these ranks. And Director 300, 2 months, 3 months for Director 700, 6 months for bronze. So you can kind of get an idea what that takes. Just looking at the numbers here, I'm going to kind of roll through these pretty quickly, but in that 21 months that the average diamond took to go diamond, if you extrapolate that, they've earned nearly $200,000. So the point is that sometimes in the beginning with this kind of a business model, you do a lot of work that you may not get paid a lot for, okay? But as you build your team, you're starting to earn the rewards for things that you're not even doing, because you're getting the multiplied benefits. So consistency and really working that is important. Now, if we look at in terms of enrollments, and by the way, we've got I know that we've got people on this call from all over the world. Right now, there's some incentives for in Australia and New Zealand for a contest called Reach for the Beach, and I would encourage everybody in these markets to run for it. There's other incentives in other markets to go to convention and different things. So whatever the incentive is, definitely the company puts these incentives out that we can help to promote and treat it like a little bit of a game with our team. But you can see that the average diamond sponsored their first month about 3 people, a little over 4 people, their second month about 3.5, and consistently they've continued to sponsor. But the other thing that they've done is they've worked their business in depth. Now, the average diamond has sponsored, this is pretty shocking actually, it's only 43 people. That's not a lot of people when you think of how powerful these products are. Now, all these people are not going to be, business builders. Most of these people, quite frankly, are going to be product users. They might give you some referrals. It might lead you to some people. But the thing that we want to be good at is duplication. So for every person on average that they brought in, there's 38 more people that have joined their organization or their team. And by the way, these are just averages. But the average diamond would have a team of about 1,627 people. So you see, it's not about who you know, it's about who they know and who they know. And it's about creating that duplication in depth so that you're doing this. Now, Danny, I'd like you to maybe take a minute and just talk about this aspect of it a little bit, because when you're thinking about not just where you're going, but what you're doing and helping to motivate the team, you want to help them to rank advance. So Dan, maybe you can talk about helping your team. I know this is something you do, you're brilliant at, and that's to help people achieve ranks.
Yeah, so this is what I love about the compensation plan, because it pushes you to go this way anyway, to do that anyway, and the incentives that the company puts on with, the reach for the beach or earn your way to convention, any of the trips, incentives, the fast forward, obviously fast forward. I keep pushing and trying to set these examples. I reached the fast forward plus last week, which if you don't know what that is, that's putting 8 people in a 14-day period with at least 12 cases, 1,200 points, which builds the foundation of your business. But what you want to do is help your team achieve the exact same thing. So what I focus on is keeping an eye on the recognition part of the back office and all the rank advancements and fantastic achievements of the team, because I want my team to be in those statistics. So the more you can help your team to get to, from starting off, from being an associate to director, from binary qualifying and start earning commissions to Director 300, stabilizing that, and the Director 300 that's stable over a 4-week period will have their product paid for, and it's just step by step helping people achieve these little wins. These little wins to make sure that they're rank advancing, which is building that foundation of your business. There's all sorts of recognition in place that the company has with you helping your personals to get there. But I take the viewpoint of digging to depth and helping anybody, no matter how deep they are into my organization, to achieve these ranks, because if they're achieving these ranks, they're making money. If they're making money, they're getting product into people's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'd like to do is I've got some success profiles here. Danny, I want to highlight yours. Maybe we'll skim through a couple of these, but let's take a look at some of the Australian leaders. Now, one of the things that I think is really interesting here is every one of those leaders that I just had up on. Let me just go back here. Dan, Justin and Nicole, Mal Sword, Melissa and I, David, Doyle. We've got every one of these. If we statistically look at their averages, they have sponsored in their first 90 days between 20 and 25 people, which is pretty impressive. Because one thing you want to do is you want to work your business in 90-day bursts, 90-day blasts, and you can see that on average that each one of these people have sponsored 3 to 4 people per month, but what they've done is they've worked their business in 90-day bursts. So Dan, I know that you do this all the time. It's game on. You're working really hard. You put people in, and then you take time to work with your team a little bit too. So this is a really important thing. And the other thing that they've done is they've consistently worked in depth with their team to rank advance and create duplication, which is, again, what you just talked about. Now, actually, I thought I pulled up a different slide presentation, Dan. I've got, I think.
While you're in that sorted, so just in with what we're going to go through now, some of you may have been in this business for a while, and you're nowhere near achieving these numbers or getting to the numbers we're talking about. But what we're saying is, look at this like this is the first day of your business, and you've got that 90 days, the 90-day burst coming up. You're going to put in that all-out massive action to actually achieve these numbers. So these are the numbers that we started off with. This is what we achieved. But every single day is like the start of your business. And if you look at it like that, or running it like a business, or treating it like a job, whatever it takes to keep that activity up, the consistency, the persistency that you need to build your business. I mean, I look at it like I'm in survival mode. 4.5 years ago, I was struggling to put food on the table. Today, it's an incredible income and lifestyle, but I still get up every morning like I can't put food on the table. So this mental state ensures that I get up at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock every single morning to make sure I'm putting in that all-out massive action. So I am helping people and maximizing my time to do so. Because I mean, personally, at the end of the day, I don't want to be responsible for losing anybody, whatever that means to you. I know what it means to me, but that's where I build this business in survival mode every morning, and I'm keeping these numbers up continuously.
So what we've done here, Danny, thanks for carrying that while I changed the presentation a little bit. I wanted to run through the numbers that you've done. So look, success leaves clues. And by the way, when you start your business, when I said the first 90 days, one thing that I've got Mal Sword as an example here. Actually, when he enrolled, he didn't do much of anything for 14 months. So we counted his 90 days from after that period of time from that start. So Dan, like you said, there's people on this call who've have been in ASEA, who've been working it maybe a little bit, but maybe it's time to say, okay, it's game on. I'm gonna start my business today and work it at a level with a passion that maybe I haven't done before. And so,
and just with going through these figures, Bart, too. I mean, these figures are from day one. When I didn't have my heart or my feet in ASEA, it was still involved with something else. So I didn't make the decision really up until about the 4-month mark, which you can see what happened here at the 4-month mark, to really share this with people and build this business.
Yeah, so let's see, if we look at this profile, now the orange line represents the averages, and this is the blue line is, Dan, your income. So we're looking directly at income success. And by the way, this is just up until from when you started until February of this year. So yeah, 2019. That's right. So so the figures that we'll show here is going to be quite a bit more actually than that. But even with that, you put 22 people in your first 90 days, and you hadn't done a full-on effort. But that's a pretty respectable. Actually, there was a contest that was happening, similar to Reach for the Beach, but it was a contest in Cancun, and so that was a good driver. It
was. I mean, for me, it was a little bit of monkeying around. As I said, my heart wasn't into it. I didn't really know, the possibilities, and it was winning that trip that literally turned me around to engage with ASEA full time, and that was in February 2015, which was a trip to Cancun, Mexico.
Yeah, so you had really a chance to kind of connect with some of the other leaders and the corporate leaders as well. So Dan, you achieved a diamond in 16 months. You sponsored 78 people, which is obviously above the average. If we average that out in the time that from the beginning until February of 2019, you sponsored, still it was less than 4 people a month, less than 1 person a week. So you can see that, with some steady, consistent effort, you can absolutely make this, you can be, a top achiever. But the other thing that I really want to point out is from those 78 people, you added 3,127 people. So look, I know people who have actually sponsored more than this and are kind of stuck because they're not working with their team. They're not doing the things in depth that we need to do to really connect and help them to find out what their goals are, what their whys are. So that's a real important thing to look at this. So in 21 months, you had earned about 300,000 Australian dollars. And if you average that out, even in the beginning when the pay wasn't 14,000 a month, it still averaged that over that period of time. And so 4 years, 4 months, total sponsored. Now I know that this has gone up from 134 because you're continuing to lead by example. You're continuing to bring people in. And like you said, you just, I think you've already achieved the Reach for the Beach, right?
Yep.
Okay. I think you said
2
that.
months ago, but we're going.
And I believe there's about 30,000 people in the downline now. So you can see that this is growing, and certainly been well over 2 million that you've earned since you started. So from this point in time. So a couple things that I want to highlight here, and these are important things when we're actually looking at the numbers and treating this like a business, is you sponsored 22 people, and again, you can see kind of the averages per month. So it's the consistent, steady effort. Justin and Nicole, I can just kind of look at, these are cross-line to us, other top leaders here in Australia. They brought in 25 people in their first 90 days, achieved diamond in the same 16 months, sponsored 66 people. Again, you can see the average of about 3 people a month. And let's see, and they had, at this point, they had just earned $1 million. So again, just to highlight some of their averages right here, you can see fairly similar statistics. Look, I like to highlight Mal's results here because Mal, let's see if I just go back one slide. You can see that Mal is not the fastest one. There's people, let's see, trying to think, I just spaced his name, in the States. Dr.
Leland Duck,
Yeah, Leland Duck.
4 months.
What, diamond in 16 weeks or something crazy like that?
Yeah.
I mean, insane. You know, so in 4 months, he had hit diamond. Mal is one of the most amazing leaders. But the thing I love about Mal is he's really good about working in depth with his team. He's really good about building belief in other people. And so that's one thing that he does. He works, and he's also really good about working with the people who are working, you know, working with the red apples, people who are doing the work and not wasting his time with the people who aren't. And so, again, this goes to all the points that we just talked about. But if we take a look at Mal's statistics, this is the graph that kind of shows. But this needs to be updated. He's ambassador double diamond now, and not too far off triple diamond. But if you notice here at the top, he didn't do anything for 14 months. So we're actually starting from his restart date. And again, I point that out because maybe you've been in for a while and you're looking to say, okay, it's game on. I'm going to start today, or I'm going to, you know, my start date is next starting Monday or whatever it is. So in that first 90 days, he sponsored 25 people. He achieved diamond in 19 months. And he sponsored 64 people, which is an average of 3 people a month. And you can see that he's definitely added to his group. Earnings were $7,700 monthly average. At this point, it's 3 years and 3 months. He had brought in over 102 people, and the total downline was 18,800. And we could add about another $500,000 to that now from his earnings since February. So you can see that statistically. Now, again, I point this out because Mal has been really good about working with his team and being the leader. Again, you can see the averages that we're looking at here. So it's consistency is so important. And I love what Tyler Norton says. This is a phrase, you might want to write this down. He said, "The grass is greenest where you water it." And when you think about that, I'm so guilty. I've talked with people, and if I don't follow up with them, I've planted the seed, but I didn't go back and water it. I didn't go back and fertilize it. I didn't nurture and cultivate that seed. When you've got a leader that really is stepping up and they want to grow their business, they want to make this happen, you want to really think of them as a gardener that you want to help to nurture and grow them and help them to build their business. So it's really important. I think that Mal's just a master at that. Melissa and I kind of I'll just run through this here really quick.
Total income of Mel's 130,000.
Let's see. If someone's talking, could you please mute your phone? We got a little bit of feedback. Thank you. So let's see, in the first 90 days, sponsored 20 people, achieved diamond in 18 months, and let's see, sponsored 63 people, averaged 3 people a month, had 3,900 people from this 63 that Melissa and I were able to achieve. And in 21 months, the income was over 200,000, 11,000 average. And let's see, the total downline is now I think about 34,000. And let's see, we were just recognized in the Millionaires Club with ASEA. This is obviously Australian dollars, but that's definitely grown since February as well. So again, the consistent theme is the 20 to 25 people and 3 a month. And also we can look at David. Now, Doyle, he is actually had some incredible statistics. In fact, when you're looking at the speed, I want you to notice David hit diamond in 11 months. So really hit the ground running really well, and sponsored 24 people in the first 90 days. Achieved diamond in 11 months, sponsored 66 people. And you can see that the earnings are really growing here as well. Now you can see also the time frame. This is 2 years and 2 months. So David came in later. So these stats wouldn't be as high as some of the other ones just because of the time of coming in, halfway through the same time in comparison. But again, we're looking at these statistics of the averages, which is pretty important. So what I'd like to do, and Danny, I'd certainly be open to any of your input on this, because this is important to look at the statistics. In summary, I just want to encourage people to really work your business in 90-day bursts. This is really important to say, 90-day blast, 90-day burst, to say it's game on. I'm going to do a big push for 90 days. The next thing is consistent and steady effort. Again, think in terms of that gardening principle. If you just went and planted a bunch of seeds in the garden, if you don't go out there and water them, they're gonna dry up and they're gonna die. So the grass is greenest where you water it. And think, who have I talked with? Who do I need to follow up with? Who are my leaders? Who are my potential leaders? How can I help them to build and grow their business? So you want to treat it like a business and follow up. Have some fun with it. Create a sense of urgency and build the relationships with people. Do you want to just talk about sense of urgency a little bit, Dan? Because I think that we really are in a very unique position and timing with this.
Yeah, I mean, just from the company's statistics and where they are, because that's what we need to look at, because we're the ones who are building the business, and the revenue, the sales, the turnover of the company is coming from us. The timing is very important when it comes to a business like this. I mean, if you step that back though, I mean, if you look at the real statistics of a company in the network marketing industry, normally after 10 years, and we're 10 years old at the end of this year, a company needs to reinvent themselves, to add a lot of new products, to have a total change, to move to the next phase of their growth. We don't have to do that. We're in a very lucky position that we've got this breakthrough technology, the ASEA, these redox settling molecules. So last year, the company actually hit some really good momentum. We went from $18 million turnover to $126 million turnover, which is a 50% increase over 12 months. So timing is definitely a major player and role when it comes to getting involved in a business. I mean, if you go back again, there's a lot of people that are looking for an opportunity. There's no need for anybody on this call to look any further or to be distracted by any other shiny object, because there will never be a bigger breakthrough. And this company ticks every single box with the leadership, corporate leadership, the compensation plan, the ethos of the company, the technology. So we're in a very good place where we're 10 years old, but we're just hitting our straps. We're just getting that momentum and traction to take our business, as far as the overall business, to literally that in 3 to 5 years, that $1 billion turnover, that vision of Vertus Norton and what he wants to see to get this product into people's hands. So anybody getting involved now or last year, the year before, in a year or 2 or 3, there's still plenty of room and scope for them to grow an enormous organization with ASEA. And when you look at these examples of who you've just shown, what have they done? They said it's a consistent effort, but they put systems in place. They train their team and duplicate very, very well the simple things that you're talking about. Just keep it very, very simple. That piquing interest and follow-up and, closing somebody, using that third party edification, which I'm going to throw him in the deep end at the end of this call. Steve Copping knows it's very, very important. I'm going to get him on to just have a quick chat about that, because he's actually mentioned how important that is. It's probably one of the most important things when it comes to building a business. So the timing with our business right now couldn't be any better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've already talked about tools, resources, events, systems, upline. That's perfect. Yeah, the one thing that I think we really need to appreciate is the power of three-way phone calls. Just connecting. I mean, a lot of times, you've got a good rapport with someone, but something about our personal relationships, when you can bring a third-party validation in, it really does build a lot of credibility. It builds synergy with that. So don't be afraid to do three-way phone calls. If you're afraid to do them, best way to conquer your fear is just to step in and do a few. You'll find that they're fun, and it's a great way of connecting and creating vision with people. Create some in-home meetings, do some conference calls. Just, you are the leader of your business. Like Dan said, hey, I just stepped up and did it. And of course, we talked about, some of the things we did together, and I didn't have to direct or tell you what to do. It's just, he's a leader. There he goes. But we've always worked well together with what we've done. So just make it happen and help your associates rank advance. So these are, and then also to help them identify their why. So these are all kind of the key points that we've gone through, certainly overlapping with the 30 points that you mentioned before, Dan, but also as we look at the success profiles, you can see that these are the key things that they've done to really build their business as they've gone. So anything else you want to kind of highlight that you want to mention on that?
No, I mean, we want people to step up. We want you to become the leader that you need to be to build a business like this, an organization within ASEA. But, don't reinvent the wheel. Just plug in. Everything is in place. I mean, you should be doing three-way calls all day. It's the basis of building our business. Three-way calls are important. They're critical. Anybody that comes on board, just make sure you as a leader, make sure you let them know not to go and approach everybody they know without knowing what to say, because all they need to do is keep it simple, pique interest, and get them to a third party expert or world authority to edify what they want to say, but they can't because they're too close to their family and friends. They know them too well, and it's just not going to work. We've made all the mistakes over the last few years, Bart. We've learned from our mistakes. The great thing about what we have as well is we have got the highest customer retention rate out of any company in this industry in the world because of our breakthrough technology. So we're up on everybody, 30 to 40%. The industry average is 10%. And the thing that I'm seeing within my organization,
Get it to go on there.
with making sure that people aren't making the same mistakes that we made, and what we're duplicating is what we're talking about now with piquing interest and our closing techniques and follow-up and everything that we do is that not making those mistakes, their retention is going to be up around 70% plus, which is, so if you look at those numbers, and if they're putting the same numbers as what we've put through, their business is going to be twice as big with the same efforts without making the mistakes that we made.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just kind of wrap this up with a couple things that I wanted to just share with you. So Diamond is of course the dream, but that's only the beginning, because when you look at this, the income, that's where Diamond's at. You can see where Ambassador Triple Diamond is, and you can see where Presidential Triple Diamond is, or the presidential ranks. Look, because of exactly everything that Dan just mentioned, where we're positioned with timing, please don't underestimate your potential and the potential of this company, the products, the culture, everything. We've got something really big. I was listening to a video. It was someone was asking a very influential leader if, hey, if I'm just kind of, you've really done some amazing things, but I'm just sort of an average person, what would you recommend for me? And this person stopped. In fact, I know not everybody loves Donald Trump, but it was Donald Trump. They said, hey, you've done some amazing things, but I'm just an average person. What would I do? And he said, don't ever consider yourself to be average. He said, you've got all kinds of talent and abilities and everything else. He said, don't underestimate who you are. And that just resonated. Don't underestimate who you are, and don't underestimate the people that you bring into this business, who they are. Dream big, because you truly can. It's just a matter of making the decision where you want to go. And the most important thing is just be the leader that you desire to attract. That's all just a process of growing. Like I said, it's life and fast forward. It's just about just making the decision to constantly improving yourself every single day, and then create your success story. So I'll just stop the screen sharing here, Dan, and we can open this up. I know you wanted to bring Steve on.
Yeah, well, I think what we'll do, there's some incredible leaders on here that are very, very successful and have been in the industry for a long time. Catherine from Corporate is on here, who runs Australia and New Zealand with Kim Hill. Before we get to the Q&A and we stop the recording, I'd love to get some feedback from these other leaders, anything at all that they want to mention or throw in, anything that's going to help everybody on this call with anything we may have missed or that can be expanded on. So Catherine, as far as corporate, as far as leadership events, if you want to jump on, Steve Copping, Alan Fitzgerald's on here, Richard, David, any of you guys want to jump on with your thoughts or anything that can help, any hints or tips for these people as leaders to move forward, to do and to be and to become the leader they need to be to build this business. So we'd love your feedback. If you unmute yourself and go for it.
Yeah, Danny, can you hear me, Steve?
Steve Copping, how are you? Do we have you? We have your lovely face, or you? Oh, there you are. How are you? So many people still on this call. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being on, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great session. A lot of great info. Just one thing which might I think help. We have a lot of live presentations around the country, and I just think it's important. One of the things which, if I was introducing someone in my previous life, so to speak, and a lot of times you'd be unprepared and you'd go up and ask the speaker, how would you like to be introduced, or what have you done in your life, or whatever. So I think it's really important at our workshops for the speaker to be introduced, to edify the speaker. Edify just means to build up. And the speaker shouldn't have to get up and start the presentation. Someone needs to introduce them, because if the speaker is well introduced and the person introducing can give the speaker credibility, what the speaker then will say will have a lot bigger impact on the audience he's speaking to. And I'd really encourage anyone that is a speaker to actually, what I used to do was write out my own bio, and so I'd take that with me, and whenever someone came up and said, how would you like to be introduced, I'd just pass them my bio and of how I would like to be introduced. I think that's a good practice to do. And they used to say, gee, you're prepared. Well, we run a business, so I think that's, if anyone is called on, and you may be called on ad hoc to introduce the speaker, if you know the speaker that's talking at that meeting, make sure you have a bio with you of the speaker, just in case you're called to action to actually introduce the speaker. So I just thought that might be a good tip.
Yeah, so Steve, you're talking about events, but you're talking about in every aspect in our business as well. It's important, obviously, on a three-way call to edify the person as well as the expert or the world authority, and have a bit of knowledge about them as well.
Yeah, spot on.
Beauty. Thanks for your tip.
No worries.
Catherine, do you want to say something from a corporate point of view? You're the only person from corporate on this call. We really appreciate you being on here. This call was really it was started for, and the Melbourne team and what's happening around there to do a bit of coordination and whatnot. So love your input on anything from leadership to events, or anything from a corporate point of view that can help the team. That'd be appreciated.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me? 1 second.
Yeah. So if you can just let everybody know your role with ASEA as being employed by the company in corporate.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Yeah, actually, it's a very, very good presentation. Incredible.
Thank you.
I really like it. I would like to have this, regular training, like conducted by, leaders. Leaders are so important. Is what you mentioned. I really like it. Is
我们这里很多人给他们看一下。
You there, Catherine? Sorry, you've cut out. We lost Catherine.
我们跟 Dan 打个招呼吧。哦
David, hey, how you doing? So, just to introduce David, he's a triple diamond in ASEA. He is in Melbourne, and that's his team in one room having a party while on this training. So, well done for getting the team together. Great job. Catherine's gone by the look of it. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to stop this recording. We've got a pretty good, clean, crisp recording, and we're going to use this for future training.